quick disclaimer before we get into this build. None of these products are sponsored. All of these were purchased myself through Newegg. So any opinions that I have about any of these are not bought opinions. They are my opinions. This stuff is not given to me. That's not saying that any used suppliers want to send me something. That's not the case with this build. This is all purchased. None of it was given. So let's get on to it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Nerd Neck channel. Today we're out of the garage and in the bedroom, I guess you could call it. Resting on the workbench here. Today we're going to deal more with the nerd part of the channel. We're going to talk computers, more or less. We're going to build one. My nephew came to me a while back, wanted to build a gaming PC, one that he can use for school. So today we're going to put one together. He gave me a budget. I ordered some parts in, and we're going to throw this puppy together. Let's get to it. So as far as parts go for this build, budget was right around $1,000. I went a little over $1,000, specifically because I wanted things to, I wanted them to look good in the case. The spec-wise, this build is have easily stayed under $1,000. But trying to keep things looking, everything fitting together with the color scheme, went a little over that $1,000 budget, but I'm fine with that. That's close to my nephew's birthday, so hey, Ryzen 5 3600 6-core 12-thread, good middle-of-the-road performer. In my system, I have a Ryzen 7 3600 or 3700. My wife's, I have a Ryzen 3. So if I got a Ryzen 5, would be perfect for him for some gaming. He asked about possibly streaming, that sort of thing. I think this would be a good one for him. And if it's not enough, there's the option to obviously always upgrade to a Ryzen 7. I did get a separate cooler for it. I'm not a huge fan of the plain old basic, AM4 cooler, the Stealth. My Ryzen 7 to 3700 came with the Prism, I think that's what it's called, and absolutely love the way it looked. So grabbed an extra one, brand new in the box, to throw on this Ryzen 5. Not only keep it cooler, obviously, and quieter, but they just look great with the RGB that's in them. Asrock B450M Steel Legend. Honestly, until I built my wife's rig, I had never used an Asrock board. It's been performing great. I even threw one in mine, it's a different board, but still an Asrock, just a B450M, and I've never had an issue with them. They work great, so figured it was a good way to go with this one. The Steel Legend looks great with the built-in RGB and the color scheme being black with silver accents, which leads me to the graphics card. MSI Gaming Z RTX 2060. Again, 2060, an amazing card as far as performance goes, for price. And this specific one being that it has the silver shrouds around the fans, RGB lighting, it'll tie in perfectly with the silver accents on the motherboard with this RGB lighting. 16 gigs of Corsair Vengeance, LPX, 3200 megahertz, of course. Western Digital Black, 1 terabyte NVMe drive. I've just always used Corsair, specifically the CXM series, and they work, plain and simple. I have this exact same power supply in my wife's build over there. I had the 750CM version in mine, and they just worked, plain and simple. Never had an issue. Picked up some Fractal Design Prismas, just a 3-pack. So I'm going to put 2 in the front and 1 in the back of the case. Some Fantex RGB strips to go in the case, just sort of background lighting. In the case that I decided to go with is the Masterbox Q300L. Pretty small footprint, but I should be able to put everything in there. They're really nice looking cases. The built-in magnetic filters on the front and the top, and the clear side window. It's a perfect fit for him. It's not over the top. Look at me, I'm a gamer case, but at the same time, it has a very neat and professional aesthetic to it. I think it'll go good with this build. I think actually, if you're watching this, you've seen plenty of build videos. I'm just going to do a time lapse and let's get to it. Well, she is built. A couple of weird quirks with this case. Cooler Master's been around for a long time. I've seen their quality be hit or miss. This particular case, not gonna lie, seems about on par with the quality of the computer case that I put my wife's build in, which was one of the least expensive on Newegg, the brand DIY PC. It is all steel, but man, is it thin. But it's a very lightweight case, very small, inexpensive case for what it is. That being said, everything fit in here perfectly for a mid-ATX build. The particular graphics card that I used here is roughly 3 high, and getting to those headers in there for the RGB connectors, HD audio, and a-rgb for the lights was tricky. I ended up putting the power supply in before plugging those in, and slide the power supply back out, plug those guys in, then slide the power supply in there. But that wasn't too big of a deal. Not a whole lot of room behind the back wall of this case to route wires. Kind of see some of them back there poking through one of the holes. Probably pull the back cover back off and rearrange that a little bit and make those more hidden. There's a little bundle of wires up here that's not a whole lot I can do about them. But I mean, once you're standing back looking at the case, you don't see them, so I'm not that worried about it. Anyways, first boot. Haven't plugged a monitor in yet, so I couldn't tell you if it's posting or not. That's next. But I wanted to make sure everything turned on, lit up. Everything appears to be working perfectly at first glance. One of the other kind of pet peeves, which I think I can do something about with this case, and it's really only because I'm running the RGB strips on the top and bottom, is the fact that it has these extra screw holes and the light kind of bleeds out of them. The bottom's kind of cool. I'm not too worried about that. It kind of gives it like an underglow look. But again, that's something that if bothers him, a piece of black electrical tape from the inside would easily block that, because it looks like this really the only place that's coming out is right there on the edge. And that may be what I do with these other guys, just a small piece of electrical tape on the back side just to block those holes off visually so you don't have light bleeding through. And there's some around the edge, like in the corners, but it's not that big of a deal. Like I said, this wasn't really a build guide, but hopefully you enjoyed watching the video and seeing the end result and what came out of this. If you want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe to my videos. I'm trying to do more computer, the tech stuff, the nerd ending of my Nerd Neck channel. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I still love to get out there in the garage and get my hands dirty, but it's very nice to come inside and work on something clean like this. This is my roots, is computer stuff. So I love doing this anytime I can. And of course, when it's for somebody else, it's that much more rewarding to see, you know, the face that somebody gets when they fire this thing up the first time, get into a game, and, you know, run 100 plus frames per second in their favorite games. So, but anyways, thank you so much for sticking around and watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.